Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Tuesday, October 18th. And like every Tuesday, I'm joined by one of the best volume handicappers in the country, no matter what, volume or no volume. His name is Craig Trapp. He's from picksandparleys.net.
Come on, now you're screwing with me.
No, folks, it's Sean Higgs from picksandparleys.net. Just a private joke we had between us two, because for whatever reason over the years, I always confuse the two, and I don't know why, because I talk to Sean more. Anyway, Sean, how are you, man?
Pretty good. I know we always do it. It's always like Craig, Sean, Craig. At least we don't do the power hour. If I was on with me, you, and him, you'd be total confusion. Like,
yeah,
what?
No doubt, man. It'd be like dealing with two twins for me.
Yeah, doing pretty good. We had Tennessee last week here, right? Doggy, yeah, right. We'll take it. Not too bad on the for the show for everybody. All right, another good NFL weekend hitting the NFL. You mentioned volume, yes, definitely a volume guy. So did have a little losing college. So college has been not as good as NFL. Listen, you hit 64% in NFL. You're gonna get. I'll take that one sport. If I got into it, it'd be a miracle. We're just hovering about a 52%, not quite profitable yet in college, back and forth.
Yeah. Similar scenario for me. I mean, Craig or Sean.
Now I'm in your head.
I'm sorry, folks. Sean, 48-27 in the NFL this year at picksandparleys.net. Dime players are up $18,840. That's good for 64%. Ross Benjamin, NFL 24-14, pale in comparison for just 63%. But I'm up $8,800 as well in the NFL. I was just telling, I discussed this yesterday, and I was discussing this with Sean off air. 1-5 in college football last week. Folks, the underdogs in college football went something ridiculous like 34-11-1 against the spread. Lo and behold, one of those rare days where I had 6 favorites on Saturday, Sean, all 6 won straight up. All were 14.5 or less, yet I went 1-5. Normally, you would think with that in mind that you would at least go 3-3, but that wasn't the case. Sometimes luck is with you and sometimes it's not, but we tell it like it is. Like Sean just mentioned, he went 6-10 in college football. I went 1-5. Look, we beat on our chest when we win, like in the NFL, but you know what? We're transparent too, right?
We do lose sometimes. It's not,
yeah.
I know out there in spot channels, we win every day. Look at this, 90%. Yeah. Well, in the real world, you take losing days some days.
Absolutely. So we got a couple college football games for you on Saturday. Before we get to that, folks, friendly reminder, we went 8-2 on this channel last week with our 5 videos with our free picks. By the way, I went 5-0 last week.
There you go.
So 5-0, 3-0 in college football, 2-0 in the NFL. I had a losing week with my premium selections. Go figure. It's not an exact science, folks. But
listen, I do the midday money show. My football in midday money, I got a losing record in football on the show, 16-17, and yet I'm not even 500 in there, and I'm yet close to 64% there in the regular. So
I could live with that.
It's sad, it's weird. It just happens.
Yeah, people who put too much stock into free picks. Realize this, folks. What do you do for a living? Whatever you do, you expect to get paid at the end of the week, right? I mean, you go to a restaurant, they put out hors d'oeuvres. If you're a guy that shows up and eating hors d'oeuvres every day and you love them, why wouldn't you dabble in and go in and have an entree? Spend some money. So that's what we're asking you to do. You could find both of us at picksandparleys.net. You could find me at my own website, rbwins.com. And there, folks, all my daily multi-game and single game packages are guaranteed. No, you're not going to get your money back like you do at picksandparleys.net, but I will credit your account the exact amount of your purchase price if you happen to lose. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, let's get to the free picks, and real interested to hear your take on this.
This is a tough one here with Syracuse and Clemson.
Yeah,
I would say
Number 14, Syracuse, 6-0. Number 5, Clemson, 7-0. Clemson right now, 13.5 point favorite, the total 49. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah. And I'm going to go right up into the upper atmosphere of this one. Cause I said for the start of the season, I thought Dino Babers was on the hot seat, and I liked under Syracuse this year. Yeah, under 4 wins. That cashed real good. September. So that was my thinking on Syracuse this year. I'm like, man, he lost the program or something. And then we talked about it. You had week 1. You were like, nah, I like the defense here over Louisville. And sure enough, that's what they've been riding. And you thought maybe and I took them last week over NC there, over State, 24-9 winner. You thought maybe, it's a bad look at spot. Clemson on deck. Last year, these guys played, it was 17-14. I'm gonna actually take the points here. Much because we got a little defense, and part of me is like, man, maybe this is too easy to just take Clemson, right? Because they're getting the offense rolling a little bit. Here we go. The quarterback, I can't pronounce his name. He's finally getting last year. The guy, and I kept saying this. I go, I can't bet Clemson. The guy had 9 touchdown passes last year. I know quarterbacks who throw 5, 6 in a game. He throws 9 for 11 games. It's crazy. Yeah. But he's getting a little better. I just think these last couple of games, some against NC State and Wake, the overtime versus Wake. Now Syracuse is not Wake Forest, but at the NC State, you let teams hang around, and if you're going to let me hang around with 14 points, I think maybe we get a little backdoor action. I think the door will be open for us to come in, chip it from 20 down into the teen range for us. I am torn. I did bet Syracuse on the early numbers. I got it at 13.5 and a 12 actually too. I got a worse number. I was like, oh, it's 13 at one spot and 12 at another. I'm like, oh boy, it looks like it's going to open low. I'm grabbing Syracuse. I'm going to take the defense, and the Clemson Tigers not really closing out strong. Give me Syracuse. The teams hang around. You're going to let them hang. It was 17-14 last year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was at Syracuse, and Syracuse gave them all they could handle a few years back when Clemson was number 1 in the country. They almost upset them at Clemson. Clemson had to score a touchdown in the last minute of that game. And this is
it was 27-23 that year.
Yeah. And that's correct. And this is a much better Syracuse team, in my opinion, than that one that we saw. Albeit though, that team went 10-3. So I guess that's a far cry from the team last year that you're alluding to went 5-7. And I agreed. I thought Dino Babers was on his way out, but one of the best things that he did, everybody talks about the struggles of Brendan Armstrong, the quarterback at Virginia, who came off a tremendous year last year. And now Virginia is struggling offensively. One of the best things that Babers did after Bronco Mendenhall got fired at Virginia is he scooped up the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach from Virginia. And boy, has that made a world of difference. Yes, their defense has been great, Sean, but that move in itself, they only put 24 up against NC State, but you know what? That's a top shelf defense in NC State.
And also, let's say, you got Clemson up next, and that's a game you played them tough. And not that you have look aheads really in college, especially for a program like Syracuse, but let's be honest, NC State had a backup quarterback in. You're thinking we should get through this, and you're kind of, it's all about Clemson. We get through this game, we're undefeated. We're playing Clemson.
That line, John. Syracuse is a 3-point favorite against a higher ranked team, a team that's dominated them in recent seasons. But the difference is you can't play against a top shelf defense like Syracuse has displayed so far with a backup quarterback that's very limited. They finally let the kid throw a little bit last week, but he was up against it in his first road start. So in his defense, anyway, I'm going to get to my game. I agree with that one, by the way. I like Syracuse plus the 13.5. I liked them last week against NC State. I gave them out here on one of the shows. And as Sean, as normal, comes up with a play where I could say brilliant minds think alike. Anyway, Kansas at Baylor is going to be my game. And let me get my notes up here. Kansas, 12 o'clock start. Baylor right now is an 8-point favorite. And that right to me, that line, Sean, jumped out at me because you got a 3-3 Baylor team that's gone 0-2 straight up in ATS in their last 2. Yet they're better than a TD favorite over a Kansas team that's 5-2. and just dropped out of the top 25 after being several weeks in it because they dropped their last two games against Oklahoma and TCU. And you know, what's alarming, Sean, to me is in those two losses, they allowed 36.5 points and 576.5 yards per game. I think Oklahoma had over 700 yards against them last week. And that's an Oklahoma team that was shut out in their previous game. And then 3 road games for Kansas, allowing 41.3 points and 549 yards per game. Baylor, they're 3-3, but you know, offensively, they're averaging 37.8 points per game, 462 yards of total offense per contest. And by the way, Baylor 10-0 straight up in ATS in their last 10 versus Kansas. Yes, I know that Kansas is a much better team than any of those versions of the Jayhawks were. However, those 10 wins by 41.3 points per game. I'm going to take a shot here. I just think that they're begging you to take the underdog here, and I'm going to use a contrarian mindset and take Baylor -8 over Kansas. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So last week with Baylor, I had the under in that Baylor game. I'm thinking to myself, Baylor has to win this game. They have Kansas, K-State, TCU, a lot of ranked teams on deck. They got to get, again, they were 3-2, now they're 3-3, got to get 500. And now you see this line in Kansas. I had Kansas last week early +8. I'm thinking, all right, I got a good number. I think it's going down. Oklahoma quarterback comes back and that line balloons up, and I knew I was in trouble there.
Yeah.
We've seen Kansas, you know, at least K-State's a team, they've been getting better for a couple of years. Kansas, they just don't have the depth to kind of compete, right? So I agree with you with this 8. I did this last week with Minnesota over Illinois. I'm like, wow, these guys are unranked, laying a touchdown on the road or whatever, was 6 against a ranked was that Illinois team, right? They played Illinois.
Yes.
And I'm like, what is going on with that? That's crazy. And I ended up taking it, you know, on the chin in that one. But I agree with you here. I see a giant line like that. I'm like, they're begging it to go the other way. And Kansas is just not there. I'm with you. Baylor.
I mean,
then you add in, if they want to go bowling, they need to win this game. They have to beat this team. You know, and if you're going to win, you're going to cover. It's not, you know, I think like you, favorites win, they cover. Dogs win, they win outright.
Yeah, over 90% of the time, if you take a favorite and a win straight up, you're going to cover in college football. Yeah, easier said than done. It sounds impressive, but if we're that easy, we'd all be rich. And we're certainly not doing too bad ourselves. But by the same token, folks, no shortcuts when it comes to sports betting. Sean, tell the folks what you may have coming up this week. Exciting times with the NBA starting tonight as we're taping on Tuesday, and the NHL now underway, in college football and the NFL, and then Major League Baseball playoffs and the World Series soon to be upon us.
Yeah, so I'll dabble in a little NBA. I'm a real stickler when it comes to regular season NBA. I don't know who's playing. I tell people all the time, if these guys don't know what they're doing at 7:00 on game day, I'm not sitting around waiting for them to tell me to, you know, I'm not. So I'll sprinkle in some NBA, cold cash on the ice. I do find some winners on the ice, and of course, Major League Baseball. You know, I'm firing around. I got Padres here on a Tuesday, and then I got a Padres in 6 and a Phillies in 7, both paying 5-1. So I'll take a shot there. I think that's gonna be a good series.
Yeah.
And then again, we're gonna have a World Series, you know, right around the corner. Football, NFL, college hoops 30 days away. So there'll always be something up for me. You know, you're gonna get. I got 20 games up ready for the weekend, college and NFL. So
beautiful. There you go. And remember, he's number 1 in the NFL at picksandparleys.net with a 48-27 record. Again, that's 64% with that type of volume, folks. That makes you a ton of money. In college basketball, which is coming up, Sean's a big college basketball guy. Yep. And if you think you're getting volume in football now, folks, you want action, you're going to get action from Mr. Higgs. That's for sure.
1,000 games last year on the site for college hoops.
Yeah. And made a lot of money too when doing it. So anyway, you could find me at my website, rbwins.com. I just went over to all the details with you there. Also at picksandparleys.net. One site, Picks and Parlays. If I don't win, you get your money back. The other site, rbwins.com. If you don't win, I match your purchase price and it goes to a credit in your account. So again, rbwins.com, 24-14 to start the NFL season, 7-0 so far with my NFL 10-star best bets. Also NFL primetime games. I took it on the chin last night with the Chargers, but still my NFL primetime record this year, Thursday, Sunday, Monday night games, 12-3, folks. Again, a lot of winning between these two guys. And don't forget, we went 2-0 on the free picks last week. Me and Sean, we went 8-2 with all the handicappers, including 5-0 myself. Why wouldn't you subscribe? I don't know. There's no hidden agenda. It doesn't cost anything. What are you waiting for?
Just listen to the show.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, for Sean Higgs and Ross Benjamin, we like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care and God bless, folks.